Are we recording? Yeah, cool. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of the Project YJ series. I'm going to go ahead and change the oil. We got the oil filter there, air filter and spark plugs. We're going to knock all that out right now. Try and get this done before work. It's currently 8:30ish a.m. so I'm not going to be super loud because I don't want to wake anybody up that's not already up. So anyway, as seen in previous episodes, here's the Jeep. Looking good. So I'm going to go get this camera on the tripod here and we'll get to work. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take the oil filler cap off. Take this off so the oil will drain a little bit quicker. And the oil filter, it looks like, is right there, so that'll be perfectly easy to get to, which is awesome. Always good. So we're going to jump under the car here. This is a 9/16 bolt. This is probably going to shoot halfway across the world the way this is angled. Alright, let's see how I can hold this. Let's get that out of the way for now. Wow, barely enough room with my ratchet. Let me go get an extension. And of course, as luck would have it, first thing in the morning, start getting ready to do something and you gotta take a dump. I had to run back upstairs real quick. Yeah, I should have seen it coming. You can always trust Old Faithful. So these guys are 5/8, standard 5/8, and I am going to just zip these off because it doesn't really matter when you're taking them out. You definitely don't want to do it when you're putting them in, but alright, it's way too loud to be using a fucking impact this early in the morning, so I think I'm going to not do that. Now when you're doing plugs or wires for that matter on any vehicle with spark plug wires with a distributor, it's a good practice to, well, here I go saying I'm not going to use an impact because it's too loud and the fucking garbage guy's out here. Anyway, garbage truck, whatever. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It's a good practice to just do a couple at a time. That way you don't run the risk of screwing up your wire orientation. Then you got to look online and figure out where the hell which wires go where, and just an unnecessary hassle. We'll give it the good old 2-finger torque check. It's usually pretty good for spark plugs. Go ahead and put the old plugs, which don't look horrible, back in the box. I love the ease of maintaining this vehicle. There's so much room in this engine bay. Everything seems pretty easy and straightforward. And these are pre-gapped. There we go, 2-finger torque. Put the wires back on. And on to the next one. She's hiding a little bit, it looks like. These copper plugs don't last that long. They last about 20-30,000 miles, but they perform way better than iridium or platinum plugs. That's why I'm putting the coppers in here, plus they're cheaper. Not over the long run, but you know, I'd rather have more performance now and have to change them more often than have a lower performing plug, a cooler plug. I don't think the previous owner realized that you have to change them every so often because those ones were pretty worn. Then again, I don't think the previous owner realized a lot of things. Nice guy, but definitely not a weekend warrior mechanic by any stretch of the imagination. He does know how to hotwire some shit though, I'll tell you that. Probably don't need to tell you guys how to change spark plugs, but of course whenever you're putting them back in, always thread them in by hand, never just start going to the ratchet. Get them as far as they'll go by finger and then torque them down And you really don't need to follow torque specs on spark plugs. You can if you want, but it's really not necessary. As long as you follow the German torque specifications of Guten Teig, you should be good to go. Make sure we didn't accidentally unplug any plug wires from the distributor. Alright, now you saw where the oil filter was earlier. I'm going to show you again. Hey, what's up, man? Oil filter right there. We're going to try to get it off with the torque wrench Harbor Freight Special. I said torque wrench, I meant oil filter wrench. This guy. One of the few things you can buy from Harbor Freight that probably won't break. So I'm going to go ahead and get that off now. And of course we got our Mopar filter here. This one is... What was the model? It was the 090 filter. The 090 filter from Mopar. It was like $8 at Walmart, something like that. I'd rather go with Mopar over Fram. Never, ever buy Fram filters, okay? I don't care, oil filter, air filter, even though the air filters probably don't make a huge difference, the oil filters are absolute trash. Always go either OEM, K&N, or Wix. I almost forgot. Two things on oil filters. Take some of the old oil, rub it around the rim, the gasket of the oil filter so it doesn't seize to the block when you go to take it off next time, and to crank it down by hand. Don't use a tool when putting it on. Hand tight is more than enough. Grab yourself a glove or something to help get some grip on the filter, since it'll be too slick to do it by hand when you're sweating and all that kind of stuff, so glove helps. Let's go ahead and fill her up. Excuse me. Now I would have preferred to have Shell Rotella, but they didn't have any in 10W40, so grabbed some Castrol. It was half the price of the Mobile One. I think it was on sale, so just went ahead and grabbed this 10W40 for a little bit higher temperature, since we are in Texas and it is the middle of summer. This should be perfectly fine. High mileage, so it should keep oil pressure up. I normally wouldn't go high mileage, honestly, just because there's some extra additives and stuff in there. That plus the higher weight of the oil may cause some weird oil pressure stuff, but on an engine of this age, 215,000 miles, even though the compression is still 140 psi per cylinder, yeah, I know, still would have preferred Shell Rotella, but whatever. 6 quarts of oil in this bad boy. So basically just a normal bottle of this plus the little 1 quart, but I got 2 bottles of this because it's always nice to have extra oil on hand, especially if you don't know if your engine burns oil. Pro tip. Always pour your oil in with the bottle sideways. Don't just dump it in like this, because that's gonna it's gonna lap on you and glug out, if you want to call it that. By the way, the plug is in. Don't forget to do that. 1 more quart to go. Sorry about the lighting, guys. I can't flip the Jeep around where the sun would have been shining on the engine bay, because my emergency brake holds downhill, but it doesn't hold uphill. So if the car is in, the car's on a grade and it's going up the grade, then it'll roll backwards. I know I could just put it in first, but I don't want to rely on the compression of the engine to hold the car. I'd rather have that emergency brake. So I'm going to try to lighten this up in post. Hopefully when you're watching it, it'll look okay, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So I'm going to go grab some shop towels. Always have a roll of these on hand. Like $3 for a roll or less. And we're going to go ahead and put that quart in. Just keep making sure to check your dipstick. Even if you have the 1 quart bottle, still check your dipstick, because that's what's going to tell you how much oil is actually in your engine. After we put that quart of oil in, we're also going to run it for a second to fill up the oil filter. A lot of people will tell you just to go ahead and pour some oil in the filter, but I never mess with that, because the 2 seconds that the engine is low on oil, like barely low on oil, like how much capacity is in that? Like 2 cups of oil, you know? Doesn't really make a difference, and I don't risk spilling oil everywhere, so that's how I do it. Grab our shop towels, check the dipstick, fling oil everywhere, just like I did. Make sure when you put your dipstick back in there, there's nothing on it. Cool. We are at the line. Well, we're above the line, so we're going to go ahead and crank the engine. Get that oil filter filled up. Alright, we ran it for a second. Should be good. We'll go ahead and check that level again. It idled way better with those new spark plugs at the proper gap. So I'm sure performance will be improved as well, acceleration. Alright, I had to go ahead and switch over to the iPhone because the card on my DSLR was full. So what we did, jumped under the car, let out maybe 3/4 of a quart, something like that, and checked the oil level again, and we're right where we need to be. So there was about a quart, 3/4 of a quart left over, which is normal. I don't know why I didn't take that into consideration, but you know, it's better just to go ahead and fill it up, and then if you need to let some out, let some out. Don't forget to keep a quart of oil with you in the vehicle, just in case, because you never know if you're going to burn oil on one of these newer car that's newer to you, especially with the amount of miles that this one has, which again is 215,000. So all we have left to do is go ahead and switch out the air filter. Super easy. There's a tab here, two tabs in the back, one tab in the back, one in the front, two on each side. Make sure you don't break any of these plastic lines, especially on an older vehicle. They get pretty fragile. Old filter's not horrible. We're gonna go and swap it out anyway. All right, don't know what brand that air filter was, but I got a Wix, and the part number is 46123. In case you were wondering. We'll go ahead and put that back on. Make sure we don't smash the filter. Two clips on each side. One in the front, one in the back. One in the back's being a dick. It's because there's a hose in the way. Just like that. Time. All right, back on the iPhone. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for part 3 of the series. I'm not sure what we're gonna do next. Probably I'm gonna order some new headlights, and I'm gonna order a steering wheel nut as well. So we'll probably do headlights and taillights for the next video. But they're gonna be LED cheapy weepies from eBay or Amazon, like the $50 per light kind of deal, but should be fine. Yeah, again, just stay tuned for the next one, guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed. I always do the worst outros. I need to come up with a something repetitive that I can throw on the end of this. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a good day. Stay tuned for the next part in the series.